Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a moment right now and consider something deeply powerful. Imagine for a second that there's an invisible force in your life, a force that's working tirelessly day and night to protect you from harm, even when you don't realize it. This force operates not just in the physical world you can see, but in realms beyond your understanding, beyond your senses. It's working on your behalf, guiding you, shielding you from dangers that you may never even know exist. In the fast-paced world we live in, it's easy to feel disconnected from something bigger than ourselves. We get caught up in the noise of everyday life. The struggles, the challenges, the constant hum of the external world. We start to think that it's only our actions, our decisions, and our awareness that can keep us safe. But here's the truth. There is a protective energy that is always surrounding you, even when you can't see it. What if I told you that protection begins not with what you do, but with what you believe? What if the very thoughts you have, the intentions you set, and the emotions you feel create a field of energy that vibrates with a higher frequency, a frequency that aligns you with divine protection? You see, the universe or God has an incredible way of orchestrating events in your life. It's not random. It's not accidental. There are forces at work, often invisible to the naked eye, that are orchestrating your life in a way that steers you away from dangers you can't even imagine. In the quiet moments, when you're still and receptive, you can feel it. When you meditate, when you quiet your mind, when you align your heart with your purpose, that's when you are most attuned to this unseen force. Now, I'm not suggesting that the world is without danger, far from it. Life is filled with uncertainty, with obstacles that seem insurmountable, with challenges that test our limit. But I am telling you this, even in those moments when you feel most vulnerable, when everything around you feels chaotic, God's protection is still at work, behind the scenes, in ways that you may not be able to perceive. How many times in your life have you avoided a disaster, only to later realize how close you came to harm? How many times have you found yourself in the right place at the right time without understanding why? You thought it was coincidence. You thought it was luck. But in reality, it was God's protection at play, leading you, guiding you, preventing what could have been from happening. Every time you face a challenge, every time you encounter a crossroads in your life, God is working to ensure that you're on the path that will keep you safe. But here's the beauty of it. This protection is not just about preventing physical harm. It's also about protecting your spirit, your emotional well-being, and your soul. It's about guiding you toward experiences that foster growth, strength, and wisdom, even in the midst of adversity. But for that protection to be effective, it requires you to trust. It requires you to align your mind, your heart, and your intentions with that divine energy. When you surrender to this higher force, when you trust that you are being protected and guided, your body, your mind, and your spirit all begin to function as one. And in that unity, you become resilient. You become unstoppable. You may not always understand why things happen the way they do. You may not always be able to see the path clearly or understand why you didn't face the consequences you feared. But trust that everything is part of a much larger divine plan. And just as the body can heal itself through the right intention, the right thoughts, and the right energy, so too can your life be protected, guided, and shaped by the divine force that surrounds you. So today, I want you to remember this. The protection you seek is already within you. It's already around you. Every moment you take to connect with your deeper self, every time you release fear, and every time you trust in the unseen force working on your behalf, you're inviting that divine protection into your life. You're allowing it to take shape in ways you may not yet fully understand. As you move through your days, know that you are safe, you are loved, and no matter what unseen dangers may be out there, God is already ahead of you, clearing the way, protecting you, guiding you with an unseen hand. And all you need to do is trust, stay open, and allow that protection to flow. There are forces in our lives that often go unnoticed, working quietly behind the scenes, shaping the course of events and protecting us from potential harm. These forces are invisible to the naked eye, yet their presence is undeniable. We live in a world where we rely heavily on what we can see, touch, and measure, but there's so much more happening in the unseen realms around us. These forces aren't bound by the physical limitations of time or space. They move through our lives in ways that we may not immediately understand or even be aware of, yet they guide us and intervene in ways that protect us from danger. Every moment, the unseen forces are actively involved in directing the flow of energy in our lives. They influence our decisions, create synchronicities, and lead us toward the right circumstances. Often, we are not able to see how these forces align things in our favor, but with reflection, we can see how we were subtly guided to safety. Maybe you avoided a car accident because something told you to slow down, or perhaps you were drawn to take a different route that ended up saving you from an unexpected risk. These moments, though they seem like mere coincidences, are actually the work of a greater force, one that's working constantly to keep you safe. The key is recognizing that there's more happening than what meets the eye. We often think that our actions and decisions are solely responsible for the outcomes in our lives, but there are unseen forces that intervene in ways we may never fully comprehend. Even though we cannot always see these forces, they are always present, always working to protect us from dangers we are unaware of. The power of belief and intention is at the core of how the unseen forces work in our lives. What we believe and the energy we put out into the world through our intentions shapes not only our experiences, but also how we are protected. Our thoughts and beliefs create a field of energy that interacts with the universe around us. When we believe in our safety, when we trust that we are being guided, we align ourselves with the protective forces that are always at work, even if we can't directly perceive them. Intention is a powerful force in itself. The things we choose to focus on and give energy to are the things that grow in our lives. If we set an intention to remain safe, to stay connected with the divine protection that is always available to us, we begin to open ourselves to receiving it. Our intentions shape the way we perceive the world, and they guide our actions and responses. The more clear and conscious our intentions, the more aligned we become with the energy that is meant to protect us. Belief, too, is foundational to this process. When we believe that we are supported and cared for, we invite that belief into our reality. A deep, unwavering faith in divine protection sends out a frequency that attracts safety and guidance. On the other hand, fear and doubt can lower our vibration and create a barrier between us and the protection that is available. By choosing to believe in our protection and in the unseen forces that are constantly at work, we become more receptive to their influence, allowing them to guide us towards safety, even when we don't understand how that protection exists beyond the physical realm, where our five senses typically operate. We are taught to rely on our sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell to navigate the world. But there is a deeper, more subtle level of protection that transcends these senses. This protection isn't just about preventing physical harm. It's about the unseen realms, spiritual, emotional, and energetic, where forces work to shield us from dangers we cannot see, feel, or even comprehend in the moment. Often, we find ourselves in situations where we are completely unaware of the risks around us, only to later realize how close we were to harm. It's in these instances that we begin to recognize that the true nature of protection goes beyond the physical. It's not always the obvious dangers we face that matter, but the things happening on a level we can't directly perceive. The intuition that nudges you in another direction, the sudden sense of peace that tells you everything is going to be okay, the timing that seems too perfect to be coincidence. All of these are examples of how protection works in ways beyond the physical. In these invisible realms, there are forces guiding and guarding us, working to ensure that the path we walk is one that is kept safe from harm. It's as if there is a network, an unseen web of protection that stretches around us at all times, steering us away from situations that could cause pain or suffering. It's a subtle form of intervention, operating not through physical barriers, but through shifts in our awareness and consciousness, preventing us from unknowingly stepping into danger. Even when the physical world seems chaotic or threatening, this unseen protection is always at work, ensuring that we remain safe in ways we may never fully understand. The moments of stillness and quiet reflection in our lives are when we are most in tune with the unseen guidance and protection that surrounds us. It's in these moments of calm, when our minds are not cluttered with distractions, that we can connect with something greater than ourselves, whether that is a divine force, the universe, or simply our own inner wisdom. These moments of stillness allow us to tune into the subtle signals and intuitive nudges that guide us away from harm. When we slow down and quiet the noise of daily life, we create the space for the unseen to become more noticeable. In the rush of daily activities, we often miss the quiet whispers of guidance that could protect us from danger. Whether it's the sudden impulse to take a different route, a sense of unease that urges us to avoid a situation, or an inexplicable calmness that tells us everything will be all right. These signals are easy to overlook when we are consumed by our thoughts and worries. But in the stillness, we become more aware of these subtle energies at play, guiding and protecting us in ways that we may not fully understand at the time. When we make time for reflection, whether through meditation, prayer, or simply quieting our minds, we open ourselves to the guidance of the unseen forces. It's as though we are tuning into a frequency that is always there, waiting to communicate with us. By creating moments of stillness in our lives, we align ourselves with a deeper sense of protection, becoming more aware of the ways in which we are being led away from potential dangers and toward experiences that are for our highest good. These moments are not just peaceful, they are profoundly protective, allowing us to step into each day with a sense of security and trust in the unseen forces that guide us. Energy and frequency play a fundamental role in how we interact with the world, including the unseen protection that surrounds us. Everything in the universe vibrates at a certain frequency, and our thoughts, emotions, and intentions send out unique energy signals into this vast field. When we align our energy with higher frequencies, such as love, trust, and gratitude, we naturally attract protection and guidance from the unseen forces that work on our behalf. We begin to understand that not everything in life happens by chance or coincidence. There is a greater purpose behind every step, and even in moments of difficulty or hardship, we are being led towards something that serves our highest good. Trusting the unseen path allows us to move forward with faith, even when we can't step. We start to realize that everything, including challenges and setbacks, is part of the protective process that shapes our journey. As we trust, we open ourselves to receiving guidance that we may not have expected. We may find ourselves in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, or being presented with opportunities that we never anticipated. These moments are signs that the unseen path is at work. The more we trust in this process, the more we notice the synchronicities and subtle signs of guidance, reaffirming that we are not alone on our journey. Trusting the unseen path is ultimately about letting go of fear and stepping into the flow of life, knowing that divine protection is always ahead of us, clearing the way. Divine protection operates not only in the physical world, but also within our emotional and spiritual realms. We often focus on the external circumstances of our lives, our job, our relationships, our health, yet there is a deeper layer of protection that works to shield our inner selves. Our emotional and spiritual well-being is just as important, and it is often in these areas where unseen protection works most profound. Protection isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about safeguarding our hearts, minds, and souls from negative influences, emotional wounds, and spiritual dissonance. When we experience emotional turmoil, grief, fear, anxiety, or confusion, there is a quiet force at work, shielding us from being consumed by these emotions. Protection in this sense is about creating a space where we can process our emotions without being overwhelmed. It's about providing the emotional resilience to weather life's storms without being lost to despair. Just as we might be physically protected from harm, we can also be spiritually shielded from the weight of emotional or mental strain, ensuring that we remain grounded and centered in our true selves. This type of protection also guards our sense of self-worth and inner peace. In a world full of distractions, judgments, and external pressures, it's easy to lose touch with our own sense of value. Divine protection shields our identity from being defined by the chaos around us. It keeps us anchored in the knowledge that we are enough, just as we are, no matter what challenges or difficulties we face. On a spiritual level, this protection helps us maintain our connection to our higher selves, our purpose, and the divine, ensuring that we are not swayed by fear or negativity. By safeguarding our emotional and spiritual health, divine protection helps us maintain our equilibrium, no matter what life throws our way. Life is filled with moments where we feel as though we're stumbling through the unknown. Yet there is a pattern to the unfolding of events that we may not immediately recognize. Orchestrated events and synchronicities are part of the unseen forces at work, aligning circumstances in ways that protect and guide us. These events often appear to be mere coincidences, but when we take a step back and reflect, we see that there was something greater orchestrating everything. At times, we may encounter situations that at first glance seem trivial or even challenging, only to later realize that they were part of a larger plan to keep us safe or lead us to a better place. Synchronicities, the meaningful coincidences that seem to happen without explanation, are often a clear sign that the protective forces are guiding us in subtle but powerful ways. For example, you might meet someone at a random event who later becomes an important part of your life. Or perhaps a small inconvenience keeps you from being in a dangerous situation at the right time. These events are not random at all. They are part of a larger divine orchestration that ensures we are steered away from harm and guided toward experiences that foster growth, safety, and protection. The more we recognize these moments for what they truly are, the more we can trust in the unseen forces at play. Every encounter, every decision, every moment has a purpose, even when we don't fully understand it. What may seem like a disruption or delay in our lives could actually be a redirection, a protection from a potential threat that we couldn't see. The universe, or the divine forces, are constantly working behind the scenes to guide us safely through life, creating opportunities and orchestrating events that ensure our protection. These events and synchronicities show us that we are never alone, and that divine guidance is always present, even in the most unexpected forms. Surrender and acceptance are central to experiencing the protection that flows from the unseen forces. So, in a world where we are constantly striving for control, it can be difficult to trust that everything is unfolding as it should. However, true protection comes when we let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, and instead allow ourselves to surrender to the higher forces that are guiding us. Surrender is not about passivity or inaction. It's about relinquishing the belief that we must figure everything out on our own and recognizing that there is a divine plan in motion. When we practice surrender, we stop resisting the flow of life and open ourselves to receiving the guidance and protection that is always available to us. It's a conscious choice to trust that even when things are uncertain, we are being taken care of. Accepting that we are not in control of every outcome allows us to step into a state of peace and trust, knowing that no matter what happens, we are never truly alone. This act of surrender is a way of inviting divine protection into our lives, allowing it to work through us and around us without interference from our doubts or fears. Acceptance, too, plays a key role in this process. It is about acknowledging that life has its challenges, but that these challenges do not define us. When we accept the moments of difficulty or adversity, we allow ourselves to grow and learn from them rather than resist or fear them. Through acceptance, we align with the flow of life, and in doing so, we invite the protective energy that surrounds us to guide us through the tough times. Surrendering to this flow doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting in the unseen protection that is always at work, even when the path is unclear.